Have you ever heard the story of the Little Mermaid? The raw one. The one that isn't filled with catchy songs and happily ever afters. Because I promise you, it's nothing like the version you grew up watching. Hans Christian Andersen, who wrote the original version that inspired Disney's The Little Mermaid, didn't write a love story. He wrote a tragedy, one about obsession, pain, and a young girl willing to give up everything for a prince who would never love her back. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Okay, so deep under the sea, in a kingdom hidden far from human eyes, lived a young mermaid. She was beautiful. Of course, every mermaid was. But she wasn't like her sisters. While they were content with their underwater world, she was obsessed with humans. She collected their discarded trinkets, listened to stories about the surface, and most of all, she longed for a soul. Here's something that Disney left out. In Hans's world, mermaids don't have souls. When they die, they just cease to exist. Humans, on the other hand, had eternal souls. And to our mermaid, that was the most precious thing in the world. Fortunately for her, she had time. Mermaids don't age the way humans do. And she wouldn't be allowed to visit the surface until her 15th birthday. And when that day came, she was ready. On her 15th birthday, she was finally given the chance to come to the surface. And she saw him, a young prince standing on a ship, laughing and celebrating. In that very moment, she was captivated. She watched from the shadows, heart pounding, beginning to fall in love with him. Just then, a storm began to brew. The winds roared, and the ship was no match for the weather. It was destroyed in an instant. Our mermaid was desperate. She had already fallen in love with the prince, and so she risked it all to save him. She pulled him from the wreckage and carried him to the shore. She stayed by his side until someone else found him, and then she left him, never having even spoken to him. He never even saw her. And yet, she was thoroughly taken by him. Some may even say she was obsessed at that point. Desperate to get with her love, she formulated a plan. There was one way she could be with him. One way she could become human and earn part of his soul through him loving her. She went to the sea witch. Now let me just say this. The sea witch is no Ursula. There's no catchy villain song and fun little minions. The sea witch in Hans's story is cold, cruel, and transactional. And she always asks for a price. What price did she ask for this time? Our mermaid's voice. Not in some cute, you can get it back with true love kiss kind of way, no. The witch in this story cuts out her tongue, permanently taking away her voice. And in exchange, she gives our mermaid a potion that will give her legs. But there is one catch. Remember, this witch is needlessly cruel. With every step that our mermaid takes on her new legs, she would feel like she is walking on broken glass. She would essentially be in constant, excruciating pain. But our mermaid is blinded with love. She doesn't care. She drinks the potion and transforms. Later that day, when she wakes up, she has washed up to the shore with her brand new legs, and her prince is standing over her. The prince takes her in and is kind to her, as he's fascinated by this beautiful young lady who can't speak, but he doesn't love her. certainly not in the way that she loves him. She's silent and suffers in that silence. The prince, he falls in love with another woman. The young temple girl who found him after our mermaid had dragged him to shore. He thought that girl was his actual savior. And he marries his newfound love. Our mermaid is devastated. But fortunately for her, she has one last chance. Remember the sisters I mentioned before? Her sisters love her and are desperate to save her. They strike their own deal with the sea witch in their desperation. If she kills the prince and lets his blood drip onto her feet, she will become a mermaid again. She's tempted, of course, takes the knife and quietly creeps into the prince's room. But she hesitates as she stands over him, watching him sleep soundly. She can't do it. Resigned to her fate, she throws the knife into the sea and walks away, knowing that this spells death for her. And as the sun rises, she dissolves into sea foam. But our story doesn't quite end there, because unlike other mermaids, she doesn't just disappear. She had shown such pure love for the prince by sparing him, even though that essentially spelled doom for her, that instead of vanishing into nothingness, she becomes a daughter of the air, a spirit who can earn a soul through good deeds. If in the next 300 years she does enough good deeds, she will go to heaven. If not, she fades away forever, like the original plan. And that is a real story of the Little Mermaid. So yeah, not quite the cute love story we all thought it was, right? Hans's version is tragic. It's not about romance, but obsession, sacrifice, and loss. And honestly, it makes me look at Disney's version kind of weird now. Anyway, let me know what you think. Did you already know the original, or is this your first time hearing just how brutal it was? Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.